India has had military and political differences with neighboring China and Pakistan for the past half-century. Such continuous confrontations have led the Indian Navy to heavily invest in its nuclear deterrence capabilities. The Arihant-class submarines were conceived as part of the Advanced Technology Vessel project, launched to bolster the combat prowess of the Indian Navy. Powered by a state-of-the-art reactor that allows the submarine to reach speeds of up to 30 knots and impressive dive depths, the Arihant-class submarines are underwater beasts, not to be reckoned with. Armed with over 30 torpedoes and a dozen K-15 Sagarika missiles with a range of 1,900 kilometers, the Indian Navy means business, especially after it announced its surprising production plans. Advanced Technology Vessel Program. The Indian Arihant-class submarines were born from the $11 billion Advanced Technology Vessel Project, or ATV, initiated by the Indian Navy. Also known as the Slayer of Enemies in Sanskrit, these state-of-the-art underwater vehicles were classified as strategic strike nuclear submarines by the Indian Navy in the 1990s. The project was a direct response to Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's desire to develop an indigenous nuclear propulsion system for the Indian Navy after the nation's successful 1974 Smiling Buddha atomic test. Under Project 932, the Indian nuclear submarine finally took shape after several technical feasibility studies and was confirmed by Defense Minister George Fernandes in 1998. The original planning of the ATV project called for the development of an SSN, a fast-moving, deep-diving, nuclear-powered attack submarine to hunt down surface vessels. But the objective changed after the Soviet Union leased India a Charlie 1 nuclear-powered attack submarine. Consequently, India decided to focus on developing a ballistic missile submarine. And for the first time in decades, the project brought together several Indian agencies: the Indian Navy, the Baba Atomic Research Center, or BARC, the Defense Research and Development Organization, or DRDO, and the Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, or IGCAR, all participated. Another objective was to bolster India's nuclear capabilities to serve as a deterrent to problems with its neighbors, Pakistan and China. Currently, India has 15 conventional diesel-electric submarines classified as SSKs. 8 vessels belong to the Russian 8 Kilo-class submarines bought between the late 1980s and the early 2000s. The other 4 belong to the Submarine-class submarine, which was bought and upgraded with German collaboration in the 1980s. In addition, the Indian Navy has 4 indigenously built Kalvari-class Skorpene submarines. As part of the country's ongoing military developments, the Navy also commissioned INS Visakhapatnam in November of 2021, the first ship of Project 15B. The Slayer of Enemies. The Arihant-class submarine is based on the Russian Akula-1 class. The first submarine of the class, INS Arihant, was launched in 2009 at the Indian Navy's dockyard in Visakhapatnam, the headquarters of India's Eastern Naval Command. With this latest development, India became the first country to develop a nuclear submarine that did not have a permanent seat at the United Nations Council, such as the United States, United Kingdom, Russia, France, and China. During the inauguration of the Slayer of Enemies, Indian Prime Minister Manmohan Singh affirmed the submarine was developed for self-defense and that the Indian Navy has no intentions of employing it for other reasons. The vessel was commissioned into the Indian Navy in 2016 after more than 2 years of sea trials and rigorous crew training. The first of 4 submarines, INS Arihant, cost the Indian government over $2.9 billion and involved the participation of over a dozen different agencies. The scale version of the submarine's reactor was developed by the Baba Atomic Research Center at the Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research in Kalpakkam. Other national companies, such as Heavy Engineering Corporation, supplied steel, while others developed components crucial for the steam generator, pressure valves, and fuel cores, among other assets of critical importance. Nuclear powerhouse. INS Arihant has a length of 110 meters, a beam of 11 meters, a draft of 9 meters, and weighs over 6,000 tons. It is manned by a crew of 95 Indian Navy personnel. A nuclear-powered 80 MW pressurized water reactor ensures the submarine has unlimited range and power, while the propulsion plant that houses the reactor is over 42 meters long and has a diameter of 8 meters. Coupled with the electrical system, the entire propulsion system takes up more than half the space of the submarine. With the assistance of several foreign design teams, including from Russia, the Indian Navy has come up with a nuclear reactor that delivers speed and outstanding performance, allowing the vessel to achieve a maximum surface speed of 15 knots and up to 24 knots when fully submerged. Also, the submarine has a unique exterior. Its hull is uneven and placed on a mat covered with tiles, which help absorb sound waves and enhance its stealth capabilities. The central portion is made up of an outer hull and an inner pressurized hull, and rectangular vents located on the starboard draw water in when the submarine submerges. Finally, INS Arihant stands out from conventional submarine designs because its conning tower is located close to the bow and not the center. Powerful arsenal. The Arihant-class submarines are able to carry all types of missiles, including weapons that can be launched when underwater. Some of these submarine-launched ballistic missiles, or SLBMs, include the powerful K-15 Sagarika, which has a range of up to 1,900 kilometers. INS Arihant can carry 12 of these powerful missiles, and they are launched through a 4-tube vertical launch system placed aft of the sail when the submarine is fully submerged to maximize its tactical advantages in a war zone. Moreover, the submarine also carries 6 21-inch torpedo tubes for engaging hostile enemy submarines and surface vessels. A supply of 30 torpedoes ensures the crew has more than enough firepower for a lengthy campaign. Following the commission of INS Arihant, the Indian Navy introduced the submarine in early 2022, after more than 5 years of development. Moreover, in December of 2021, details were leaked that the Navy's third submarine was launched at the secretive shipbuilding center in Visakhapatnam. This third Indian submarine is simply referred to as S4, and no more information is known about it. First missile launch. On October 14, 2022, the Indian Navy reported INS Arihant Air had successfully launched its first ballistic missile test. The reporter stated that the news of this groundbreaking achievement would pave the way for the possible construction of more submarines of the same class. The Indian Ministry of Defense said in a statement that, quote, "The missile was tested to a predetermined range and impacted the target area in the Bay of Bengal with very high accuracy. All operational and technological parameters of the weapon system have been validated." The ministry also congratulated the crew for their competence and assured them that India's submarine program would continue improving as part of the country's policy of bolstering nuclear deterrence capabilities. The Ministry of Defense added that, quote, "A robust, survivable, and assured retaliatory capability is in keeping with India's policy to have credible minimum deterrence that underpins its no-first-use commitment." The statement coincided with the posture of Chief Marshal V.R. Chowdhury, who has reaffirmed the sanctity of nuclear weapons deterrence value, stating it is still effective. He also remarked that ever since Russia launched its special military operation over Ukraine, world peace has been threatened by nuclear fallout. For the time being, the Indian Navy will continue to develop its 2 remaining Arihant-class nuclear missiles as part of its atomic triad strategy, which includes nuclear missiles and bombs that can be launched from land, air, and water. Thank you for watching Dark Tech. Please like and subscribe to our Dark Documentaries channels to find more exciting historical content. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to be notified of our newest videos. Stay tuned for more.